Hey guys, welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your daily show. I'm your host, Khalid Mohidin, and this is the show where we talk about all the major talking points in South African cricket. So I just gave you guys a mute intro over there. Sorry that I was on mute over there. It shouldn't actually be doing that. I think that maybe I touched the wire or something. But let's get into the topic. I see you guys already started the discussions in the live chat already. So we're going to be talking about everything that has to do with the CSA T20 challenge. But I want to take a different look on this because I'm not going to necessarily talk about what the actual World Cup squad is, because I think there's still some time to go before South Africa kind of finalize it. But I think that this tournament already has shown that there are certain players that need to have a look in for that particular World Cup squad. Whether it is before the Islands tour, that we might see a whole fresh new side being picked there. That would be interesting to talk about right now. I'm going to be bringing one of my friends onto the show a little later to talk about it, that particular tour as well, and see how we're going to go forward when we're talking about the India tour before the World Cup. Now, I feel that there are certain players in this particular competition so far that have put their foot in the line, maybe to get onto that plane. Now, I'm not going to say that maybe their foot is on the plane already. Some of them, their foot is just in the line by the ticket office. Some of them are already on that plane. So we already know that about maybe 11, 12 players are the people that will be already cemented their spots in it, and we kind of know that Pouch has been talking about 12 or 13 players that have already cemented their side, and they're trying to fill in the gaps. I mean, we've been speaking about that consistently on the show for the last couple of days. I'm going to be bringing him Paul on the show very soon, but before I bring him on and before we get going, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, click that notification bell for all future videos. Also, I'm going to turn on the super chat because I'm assuming that the chat is going to get quite hectic and there's going to be a lot of disagreements, etc. If you guys want your comments to be seen, hit that super chat. Bottom left-hand corner, there's a dollar sign on the live chat. You can get your comments highlighted. Then I'm forced to read it. At the moment, I'm picking and choosing based on what I see because I can't get through everything anymore. So you guys are going to have to get involved with the super chat. So let's get into it. I'm going to be bringing on Paul. Welcome to the show, brother. Nice to see you. Let's say absence it's the heart
makes the heart grow fonder. Yes, I've missed you, Khalid, as well.
So there's a lot to talk about. I've went to the title because I really wanted people to get in here and get a discussion because we kind of can start picking guys that have really performed this tournament. Everybody knew that this tournament is going to be kind of a trial for a lot of players to put up their hand for the national side. I think with all the Proteas players involved, as well as having some newer guys that we never thought maybe could be into the side in the T20 format. I did a video yesterday about pigeonholing certain guys, and we shouldn't do that. And some of those guys have put up their hands. Now, I just want, before we get going with you, Paul, I just want to go to the stats and give people some sort of understanding of where the standings are at the moment with regards to batters and bowlers in the tournament. So I've taken the stats from Cricket Info and I put them up on the screen. As you can see, Patron currently top of the standings. Now, he's averaging at 49.66 and a strike rate of 117.32. Now, he's had a quick innings and he's also had a slower innings where he was anchoring the innings while people were falling around him. So he's showed both sides of him, which I think is really interesting to Patron Bouillon. And maybe I think that I know Boucher. Actually, I know. I'm not going to say I think. I know Boucher likes Patron Bouillon a lot. And we saw him in the Spartan side as well. We saw what he was capable of doing there. We know that he was in the Proteas lineup. We saw him do what he did for Pakistan. Yes, he didn't kick on as we wanted him to in certain matches, but we know what he's capable of. My only issue over here with Pat is, where do they want him? Do they want him 6? Do they want him 3? Do they want him 4? Do they want him 5? Where do they want Pat van Bouillon in that Proteas lineup if they do pick him? Then we've got a guy from left field coming in here and performing extremely well after a poor start to the campaign, and then for the last 2 games really kicking it on, and that's Zubair Hamza with an interesting strike rate of 128. One of the highest strike rates in the top, actually the highest strike rate in the top, one of the highest strike rates in the top 5 over here. So interesting that he's come alive in the last couple of games. I think maybe it's too premature for him to maybe get a shoe in or a foot in the plane, because I mean, for his particular role, we're looking at maybe that number 3 position for him. I'm thinking maybe Zubair Ramzai or I'm sorry, Demba Bavuma, Riza Hendricks. So many other guys that are going to be looking to get that particular side, that particular position. We've seen Temba come to life recently as well with the 53 in his latest game. Rassie van der Dussen, as per usual, doing what he does best. Calvareno also putting up his hand. I feel he's been showing some excellent skills there at that number 3 position. And Christian Jonker, I mean, he was in and out of the side of the Proteas side. He had that initial spell in the Proteas lineup, and then he was dropped from the side, of course, and we never saw him again with regards to international cricket. Then Riza Hendricks doing what Riza Hendricks does. Then George Linder, I think one of my big names that I think should be on that particular list. And then we've got Kyle Zonda and Shile. So that's with regards to the batters, Paul. I'm just going to go run over to the bowlers quickly. We've got Sasanda Magala, they're topping the standings with 10 wickets. And then George Linder as well with 8. And then we go to a newbie, Mahima. And then we've got Maharaj performing as usual, and Ngidi, and then Hendricks. And those are the guys that we normally see. A guy over here, Rabada's on that list. Obviously, Michael Pretoria as well, performing well. And no surprise there, right at the bottom. Let me just take this away quickly. Right there at the bottom, Tabray Shams, you're also doing some excellent things in this particular tournament as well. But what I want to talk about now is from that list that you've seen. I'm going to give you 2 of the names that jump out to me initially that I think should be in this Proteas squad. One is Sasanda Magala, and one is George Linder. I think those 2 guys are guys that need to be in the considerations of the selectors and in the minds of the Proteas selectors and the Proteas coaches. Because I just feel that George has shown his skill to be able to turn it on when we need him, when teams need him, when they're in trouble. I think Verreynne is another option for that position as well. So
love for the Cobras players is just it's
no, but that's only because the only reason I'm mentioning them is because they're the only ones that actually don't have a shoe-in position in that squad. Majority of the Lions players that are good enough are already in the squad. We've got Temba Bavuma, we've got Riza Hendricks, we've got Björn Hendricks has been in and around the squad already. We've got the likes of Lutus Pamela now as well that has been in the mix. So a lot of the guys that are good enough to play from the Lions side have been in that already in the squad. And with the same with the Titans guys, I think the guys that really stand out currently, I think the Titans at the moment are playing better as a team than having individual stars necessarily in this particular tournament. Compared to other times when they normally have like 1 or 2 stars that really stand out and that are really playing exceptionally well, they normally stand out from the rest. Whereas this particular time, this particular competition, it's not necessarily those guys that are there's not necessarily one standout player or 2 standout players necessarily. It's a team effort, I think, from the Titans this time around. Someone like Lizard Williams has really impressed me. The way he's bowled in this position, in these conditions. I don't think we should shy away from giving guys the opportunity, especially in Ireland, especially against Ireland.
I wouldn't. So I think in Ireland, taking Lizard to Ireland would be complicating the equation and for the selectors. But let's talk about the guys you mentioned, right? I don't care if Sisanda is fat, if Sisanda is on my 600-pound life. I do not care. I'm not here to body shame Sisanda. My thing is that he must go to the World Cup. He is your best closer, your best finisher in the country. I don't care about Anu Nokia. You can come and tell me about Kagiso. You can come tell me about Biran. You can come tell me about Lungi. You can come fight me. Sisanda is the best finisher in South Africa, period. You need to take him to the World Cup. Shut up, play him, start him. It's done. I don't understand why this thing of running around, trying to not. Sisanda's the guy. He should have been in Pakistan. He should have played against England. He should have been, and he should be playing against Pakistan now, all 5 T20s. And you need to find out who's the partner that's going to partner with him for those last 4 overs. Because quite frankly, what Sisanda is doing in this tournament against Protea players, against the Titans, against Pite van Billion's Knights who seem a little bit awkward, the fact that that man can bowl the ball in the Yorker length ball consistently at the start of at the top of the innings and at the back end of the innings, he can bowl cutters, he can bowl on slow wickets like we saw today. Sisanda needs to go to the World Cup. I'm sorry. I'm even willing to drop. I actually think we should drop Anu Nokia. It's Lungi, it's KG, it's Sisanda. you pick 2 of the 3 to go into any World Cup game, and you should be fine. I honestly think it's now time to understand that he's your guy. I'm sorry, but he's your guy. After what I have seen over the past 3 games, he can't have played 1 game less than everyone else, but still be ahead of everyone on the wicket taking in a team that has Kagiso, that has Buren, and also that has Buren, that has Bjorn Fortuin, that has Pangiso. It's unbelievable that he is taking wickets with pro-tier legends around him, and he's the guy who doesn't have a Proteas cap. It's just unbelievable. And then on the other hand, George Linder, the third spinner position is now going to go down to whoever bats best. And George Linder's ability to bat at 6 is so crucial going into a World Cup in India that you can have 3 spinners on the field at all times. And I think that is why I think George Linder has possibly taken that third spinner option away from Keshav and also away from Bjorn Fortuin. The 2 are probably even better bowlers than George, but George's batting ability, that strike rate of 179, cannot go unnoticed. He can play spin well, he can read the length very, very well, and he can hit a very long ball. And that is what you want in someone who's going to bat at 6. He's come in when the Cobras have been in some other similar situations, and in some other really awkward situations this tournament. Today, I'm glad they got to. And here's the thing. The Cobras were today at 15 overs, 123 for 3. My question was, in the next 30 balls, can they score 50 runs and take this total to 170? George was instrumental in getting them from 170 to 180. They scored 60 runs in that 5-over period. And George Linder was in and around that situation with the Cobras. And so for me, George is probably one of the guys who's going to take that third spinner spot because it's Imran going to the World Cup. You can't run away from that. You also can't run away from Tabraiz Shamsi going to the World Cup. Then there's the group of the other guys that we can discuss. But I do think George Linder has probably staked his claim as a third spinner / all-rounder and possibly batted himself to bat. So here's the Proteas middle order. You've got your 5 batsmen. They can be whoever it is. But then at 6, it's George Linder. At 7, it's Dwayne Pretorius. And then you can have your 4 bowlers, your 2 spinners and your 2 seamers. And that team should be good enough to give your captain options with the 6 bowlers and good enough to be able to take wickets and close out innings on the back end. So I do think, if you think of it like that, George could be that X-factor player that the Proteas have, who can also bowl spin on tracks that were dying. Like today, the Knights struggled because they didn't have an extra spinner to throw at the lines. If they had an extra spinner to throw at the lines, that chase could have been a little bit more stickier. I know chasing 106 shouldn't be a problem, but that wicket was confusing the guys from the Highveld. And so you kind of saw that maybe if they threw another spinner at them and they had that possibility, then maybe that could be it.
So I understand also that I needed a topic to talk about tonight as well, because is not much else to talk about but the CSA T20 challenge. And I think maybe a 3 or 4 game sample size is maybe a little bit too little to maybe draw major conclusions. That's why I just wanted to say that maybe these guys have a foot or toe even in the water, But
here's the thing.
we know from past experiences, we've seen previous performances as well, and it also has to carry over into this. And we need to also see that, look a little bit forward as well and see how those teams are going, because this might be the last time actually that we get to see, not the last time, but I mean, the Cobras are basically out of the tournament already. Mathematically not. It can still happen mathematically, but ultimately, it looks like there's 3 teams in this tournament that are kind of running away with the league at the log at the moment, and then it's going to be a fight out for that number 4 spot. But I mean, ultimately, there's the Lions, the Titans, and the Dolphins look so dominant at the moment. Currently, so you can't write any team off or etc. I think it's a little bit too soon to say. I think after this tournament again, we can have a look back at the stats and chat about it again. But I just wanted to start the conversations and plant some seeds in people's minds, because I mean, a lot of you guys are going to be looking and watching some of the games. Maybe you can go ahead now and have a look at these players that we've mentioned and see how they perform. Look if they have the capabilities. It's not just about the stats at the end of the day. It's what they do under certain situations. So with the pressure on, how do they perform? That's the key things. George almost did it in the previous game that the Cobras needed to win as well. They really needed to get a big score, and he almost did it. He almost got over the line, but almost not good enough. You know, you need your guys to really kick on. For example, if I have any small criticism, if there's any small criticism that I had for George's performance today, was the fact that I'm seeing it too many times that batsmen are swapping the rotating the strike, giving it to the batsman that just has come into the crease. I don't believe in that. I feel that rather farming the strike is a better option. That single can be a 4 in the next ball. You understand what I mean? I think that particular move, 3 balls to go, swapping the sides is not something that I want to see from our batsman that is in at that particular time. And I know he's thinking about the team, and that's a good trait to have within you. But I think it would have been a better option for the team if he had to face as many balls as possible. But yeah, sorry, Mpo. I just had to get those points out.
No, so here's a stat from Sue Abbott, who is a statistician, a cricket statistician. And she says the most wickets taken in South African domestic T20 cricket. At the top of the list, 106 matches, 110 wickets, Robbie Freiling. Sisanda Magala, 98 matches, 109 wickets. Aaron Pangiso, 126 matches, 108 wickets. Chris Morris, 83 matches, 107 wickets. In that list of 4 that she's mentioned, 3 of those 4 have gotten a Protea call-up. One of them has not. One of them has sat on the bench throughout an entire series without getting a game. And yes, that was his fitness issues, but he's good enough to play for the Lions. We don't know what the fitness regimes are, but the Lions fitness regime is still as strong. They do fitness tests, and we've gone through that whole thing. Sisanda Magala must play for the Proteas in the next tour, and he must also play in Ireland for them to be able to have, for him to, because you cannot leave him out. There's no, I don't see, if you leave him out, then there's an agenda against Sisanda. But I'm being serious now. If you are calling him for fitness, then tell us what the fitness is and what's going on. Because if he's good enough, because the man right now he's leaned up from what he was last year. He's looking, he's lost a lot of weight, and he's the number 1 wicket taker in this tournament. And in the ODI, in the MODC, he was taking wickets there too. So I just don't get why people are just wanting to throw him away just because he doesn't fit the mold. Robbie Freiling doesn't fit the mold, but he's taking wickets and he's doing what he needs to do for the Dolphins. So why can't we give Sisanda an opportunity in the Proteas? If that's the issue, but I don't get why you're putting fitness in the way of getting someone who can honestly close out a game. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, even not only in this tournament, Mpo, in the MSL, he was ridiculously good.
There was an over in that first game with the Stars against the what's that Cape Town team? It's not the Cobras. It's whatever it was. It was him and Dale Steyn in that innings, and they just had the Lions for lunch or dinner because it was at night. And Dale Steyn even said it in a tweet that Magala is the best. He is unbelievable. That man needs to. If you're not going to take Dale Steyn, take Sisanda.
I've spoken to so many domestic cricketers, and I've asked them, who's the hardest bowler that you faced in domestic cricket? The quickest bowler, I even asked him. And they said, Andrich Nokia is the fastest, but Magala seems faster because of how hard he hits the deck. The toughest bowler that they have faced is Sisanda Magala. That's what I've been hearing from quite a few guys. Matthew Breedski's, the Marcus Ackermans of the world. All of these guys have been speaking about this and talking about Sisanda Magala's threat. I've got another caller waiting for us, another guest, another friend of mine, Mr. Uncle Ravi. Uncle Ravi, how you doing, man?
Hey,
long time no see you on the show.
Hello, Uncle.
How are you?
There we go. There. It's, Nah, I mean, ever since that those new white headphones came into the scene, he's Agarav is a different person. He'll come
Okay.
back. I think his headphones are giving a little bit of a problem.
Yes. But
Let's get
let's
in.
talk
I
about
just
the
want to,
others.
yeah, we'll talk about the others now. I just want to get to a
Mm.
super chat quickly. Thank you,
Mhm.
Dex, for the super chat. He says, I don't know about Magala fitness issues, but Michael Pretorius definitely. Now, that's what I'm talking about with regards to the fitness issues. Well, according to Rabbi Freilich, in a tweet that he actually posted recently, he said that they all go under fitness tests under the regulations of CSA that they need to pass before they can play in this tournament. So if that's the case, then that means Magala has passed that fitness test, and that's why he's playing for the Lions, who have an exceptional amount of talent there that
Yeah,
could take his place.
he's
And they
putting
are
Luto on the bench.
Bluto on the bench. But some people may argue Tladi Bukako as well.
Malusi Siboto.
Malusi Sapoto as well, who have proven themselves also in T20 cricket. So there's something about Magala that for years he's been consistent with regards to that. The Blitz picked him up. I think he was exceptional for the Blitz as well. So I mean, for me, Magala, I've been talking about Magala for a while now, and I think that he's like I say, the best Yorker bowler in this country that we have. Yes, we've seen the likes of Anrich Nokia do it in the IPL, and he's exceptional. But I think a bowling lineup of Sisanda Magala, Kagiso Rabada, and Anrich Nokia can be extremely lethal. Seriously. Maybe even you swap out Anrich Nokia for Lungi Ngidi. That's also another option. But I think that the way that Anrich Nokia and Kagiso Rabada have shown their partnership at the what's it, Delhi Capitals? They changed the name of the Delhi Capitals. I just think they're just world class bowlers in the T20 format. They're showing the case.
Yes, in any other part, if the tournament was happening in Australia, whatever it is, you take three seamers, I'd be with you. But I think going to India, you might need an additional. So the question obviously is then you can take Anrich, but then you have to drop one of Chris Morris or Dwayne Pretorius, because I'm assuming if you want to take necessarily a George Linder to bat slightly higher as one of your all-rounders, because you can go four seamers, two spinners, and then you can have three out-and-out quicks in Kagiso, Sisanda, and Anrich, or Lungi, however that three works. But then you're going to lose out on that one all-rounder, even though you've got your five batters. Your sixth batter needs to be that all-rounder, so it's either going to be Dwayne or Chris. And then your number 7 has to be the Dwayne or Chris, and then you've got 5 guys who are out-and-out wicket takers in Tahir, Shamsi, Magala, Nokia, and Kagiso. And I think that might be a little bit too risky for Bouch, which is why he might go for the second all-rounder, being either Linda or Chris or Dwayne Pretorius, to make it at least 7 recognized batsmen and 4 out-and-out wicket-taking bowlers. And I want to make the case. I'm making the case that Sanda can go ahead of one of either Lungi or Anrich and partner Kagiso, because I think Kagiso needs to be there. But you can mix and match between the 3. But I think on my plane, there's 3 quicks that are going out and out quicks, and one of them is Sanda. The other 2 you need to figure out between the 3.
Yeah, I just want to at least see him. At least I need to play him against Ireland. At least that's the minimum.
He needs to play against Pakistan here, not even Ireland.
Yes, of course, Pakistan here as well. Yes, definitely. Ravi, are you back? Are you good? Is your sound all right? Cool.
You guys hear me properly?
Yeah, perfectly.
All right, sure.
So you wrote.
Google Chrome is misbehaving.
So for Pakistan, yeah, I think that we should play a team. What I would like to see them do, and I don't think they'll do this, is take a combined 11 of the top players that performed in this particular tournament. Because I think that a lot of the IPL is just going to play its part in this whole. Obviously, a lot of the players are going to be in the IPL. So I want to see the best, them pick a best 15 from this particular tournament to take on Pakistan here, so that we can see what these guys have to offer against international caliber batsmen. I mean, I want to see them take on Baba Azam, one of the best T20 players in the world at the moment. So I want to see them play. I want to see some of those batsmen take on the likes of Shaheen Afridi on tracks that are going to be seamer friendly, hopefully. We'll see what they do. Even though Lazard Williams was speaking about him enjoying, he was actually enjoying it more to bowl in Durban than to bowl in Centurion. And he said, because I mean, batsmen really go after you in Centurion. That ball flies. So if you don't have extra pace in Centurion, it can be tricky. If you're a slower bowler in Centurion, you can really get punished, I feel. Ravi, your thoughts on Sasanda? I know you love Sasanda. You wrote an amazing piece on him not so long ago. But you were talking about Test cricket, actually, weren't you?
I was indeed. I firmly believe, I share Impo's sentiments that he's an incredible out-and-out bowler. He's been knocking on our door for some time, and I even got a bit of a tongue lashing from an unnamed player's parents that I was actually focusing too much on the likes of Sasanda and not looking at any other prospect in the country. But the truth is that the guys, the proof is in the pudding. The guy's results are there. He's excelled in the momentum ODIs. He excelled in the T20 setup very recently. In fact, it was a 5 for today. He made a lot of good, compelling teams look very weak and sort of uncertain of themselves. And that's the kind of bowler you need to take with you to either compete in the World Cup or contend or even win the big one. I think it's those kind of performances that we really need. We need somebody that can bowl a damn good in-swinging Yorker. And in my opinion, there's only two guys that have really excelled from that point of view, barring Rabada, and that's Magala and Chris Morris at the moment. So I wouldn't hesitate but to consider those two for a World Cup selection. Now, as far as the Pakistan inbound tour is concerned, I think this is the time to actually breed in our youngsters. And when I say youngsters, I don't mean putting a B team or a C team there. One guy I felt really, really sorry for, and I felt that he did everything right by the book. It was Kyle Verreynne. And the truth is that he came back with the boys from Pakistan, didn't even get a start, didn't even get a game, and I would have liked to have seen him stick around in Pakistan whilst the tour is going on. And obviously they made a calculated decision based on the fact that Heinrich Klaassen's coming in. Would you rather have a Pite or Jacques Sneeman going in upper order? But in my opinion, I think Kyle Verreynne is one guy that shouldn't have missed out. And I certainly hope for the selectors' sake and for the fans' sake, they at least get to see the man play in the Pakistan tour, if not the Tour of Ireland.
Khalid, one other thing that I think we need to consider is in the makeup of whoever's going on the plane, we also need someone who can keep. So bats in the top 5 and keep. And if you look at the list, there's Quidney, there's Temba, there's Faf, there's Rassie, there's AB, there's Miller. That was my 6 batsmen that are going to the World Cup. 5 will play, 1 will sit out. We need a keeper. So obviously AB makes everything complicated. But in the fighting of that final spot, Klaassen and Kyle Verreynne come into the reckoning. Whether you want to take a Heino Klaassen with the experience and the leadership ability, or you want to give Kyle Verreynne an opportunity to go to the World Cup, which is why maybe in the Pakistan inbound tour, that number 3 or 4 spot. So for instance, I wouldn't let Quinny play this Pakistan inbound tour, or he'd play some of the games, but in some of the rotations, Kyle comes in at 3 as the wicket keeper, and maybe you open with Temba and Riza, or Temba and Yanaman, or some type of a combination like that. And you get, and also, for instance, Grant Rulofson can keep 2 and he can open the batting. So that's someone that you can also consider, especially with the Dolphins playing so well. So that's also someone that you can consider as a wicket keeping option. But obviously that's the headache that the selectors will have, is how do they balance this team out? Because, for instance, a guy like Rassie's not a shoo-in in this T20 side if AB de Villiers is going, and possibly even David Miller. But he's batting at 179 strike rate in this tournament. He's literally making pace of any bowler. And that's a mind-blowing thing about South Africa. How can you have such talent on either side of the ball, but you can't put it all together and win a tournament? Rassie van der Dussen not going to this World Cup, or carrying drinks at this World Cup is just mind-boggling. Yes. And so that's something. So maybe, and here's the thing, maybe someone needs to bat well enough for Bacha to go to AB and say, it's fine, we don't need you. That's what I'm hoping maybe in the Pakistan inbound tour we could get.
I thought that Russia was doing that, because I mean in the World Cup, in the 2019 World Cup, obviously against England, against Pakistan as well. I mean, what more do you have to do, man? Every tournament you play. And now, my thing is this: Russia's been consistent since that first T20 MSL. Okay, before that as well, but I'm gonna use that MSL. Since that first inaugural MSL, which he won the T20 Player of the Year, right, for in Cricket South Africa. Since then, he scored consistently. Like I don't understand what more the guy has to do to show that he's like one of the best players in this country. Like, I don't know. I'm a big fan of Rassie van der Dussen, and I think that he's a utility man. I feel that he knows when to turn it on and when not to. He can cover more than one place in the particular squad. I mean, I don't know, the guy is consistently on form.
He's your go-to guy. If you want him to play aggressive, he'll play aggressive. If you want him to conserve his wicket, he'll do that for you. If you want him to play anchor, he'll do that for you as well. Really, the guy's an incredible player. I don't even know. I'm a pro. I'm you know me very well. Khalid Mbo, I certainly hope so by now. But you guys know I'm pro AB, right? But the thing is that now it's been how many months, how many periods have we been waiting for this guy? We must move on now. Now's the time to close the book and say thank you for your service. You know, it's been great. Let's bank on Rassie. Let's bank on the middle order we hope to construct. Because the reality, what I've learned from this tournament is, as brief as it's been, we've got so many prospects. And it sounds like a very... it's a very basic thing to say, but we really do. The talent runs deep in this country. I think the fact that we managed to pair the best of the best with the guys that are sort of knocking on the door is a very good thing. It's a success story in South African cricket, and I think some good will really come out of this. We might even see us really excel in the T20 game. It's kind of been the one format that we've really struggled in. It's one of those games where we just don't seem to get it. We don't seem to get it right. And I think this time round, after this tournament, we might get our pairings, we'll get our combinations right, and hopefully we'll pack a mighty punch.
But what this tournament's also shown me from a batting perspective, I've been disappointed from a batting perspective. I think our batsmen are batting at slower strike rates. Yes, we can understand it's Durban, but you need to be able to bat at least 125 or above. To actually have an impact. And what I'm seeing is that Quinny de Kock is 1 in a million. He's one in a million. And having him at the top of the order makes us look very, very formidable. And we need him in his right space because I was looking in this tournament of guys who can knock people out of their positions. And so far, it's just the Proteas, maybe George Linder fighting for that to be always considered as an all-rounder in the T20 side, especially when we're playing at home and we only need one spinner and maybe a second. I think he's put his hand up. But what I've seen is just Protea players or guys in and around the Proteas that are putting their hands up. And to a certain extent, that's disappointing. The one guy who's the two guys who've done quite well, I love Miguel Pretorius.
Excellent player.
I'm yet to understand his action because sometimes it feels like he's not putting in any effort, but the ball's coming out at like 140 k's an hour, which is weird. And I love that he's a lefty. And then the other guy is today finally we got to see Gerald Coetzee. And that slower ball that he can't, that is a beamer, but it's not a beamer. It always just goes below the waist. Is something that can be worked on and is exciting. And honestly, I've been impressed. I'm sad that we couldn't see Yaneman back because I think he needed to. Because here's the thing, I think a lot of our domestic players never get to bat against Anas. They never get to bat against KG. They never get to bat against Lungi. And this was the moment when you're coming up, and that's what I was looking at with most of the team playing against the Lions. Who's stepping up? Who's standing up? And not a lot were. The other guy I was happy about and impressed by was Tashile. Tashile's for not this T20 side, for maybe the next few T20 and ODI sides, the way he bats at 4. I think I really, really love it. So too Zubi. It's not for this World Cup, maybe the next coming World Cups. But like the guys have really, they're guys who stepped up and put their hands up, but I'm really disappointed that none of the non-Protea guys, Rickleton and Snyman really missed out on an opportunity to put their hands up for the Pakistan inbound tour. And I don't know what's going on. I think Snyman found himself into a bit of a hole today against the Lions. And it was world-class bowling, but that's what we want to see, because that's the level. Everyone's complaining about the level of South African domestic cricket. At least each team got a chance to play against the Titans, the Dolphins, and the Lions, which is possibly an international standard a bowling attack. And so those are things, okay, from a spin perspective, the Dolphins, but the Titans and the Lions are giving you the best of the best. And if you can score runs against them, you can score runs against any international attack. And so far, not many people have put their hands up, apart from Pite, which is we know what Pite gives us, and he's a safety net. It's just in a team with Rassie, Faf, AB, Miller, are you going to drop any of them for Pite or even Klaasen? So that's the other question.
Yeah. So guys, we're going to be talking about this a little later as well. When the tournament, as the tournament goes on, we'll talk more and more about this. Thanks a lot to Mpo for coming on the show. Thank you a lot for Ravi to coming on the show. Thanks a lot for all the fans for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to smash that like button, comment, share, subscribe, do all of those things as well. Don't forget to go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all your updates. Download the latest issue of the magazine as well. Subscribe to the magazine and become a patron today. The link is in the description as well. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. We'll see you again tomorrow with another daily show. Take care.